When the world didn't want me and made me feel small, all I am is broken inside. Some echo identity who can't find his shadow always hurts mentally. All right, so we are going to be breaking down the lyrics for Pulse. This song, for me personally, is a lot about trying to find the right person at an early age, because I think a lot of us felt like, like we had crushes on people when we were younger, and I think it was unhealthy for me at the time to be constantly trying to find the right person to be with, and that's what the song is about basically, but it's more so from the perspective of me as an adult and kind of where I am at with things now, which personally, like, at this moment in my life, I'm content where I'm at. If I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life, so be it. If there's no one out there who wants to be with me, that's kind of where I'm at. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the lyrics here. So the first couple lines here: disturbed and ruined, I'm running out of time. Now, disturbed and ruined, those two feelings, I kind of relate that to the feeling of not having a relationship, the feeling of not being with anyone. You kind of feel disturbed and ruined. You feel down on yourself all the time, not being with someone. You're alone, And then I'm running out of time. That refers to running out of time to find someone. Because, every year we get older, we don't have this luxury of being able to find the right person. We're constantly on this ticking clock that, like, hey, if you're not going to find someone, you're just going to be alone for the rest of your life. So that's what those two lines refer to. The next two lines here: destroyed and bruised, wish I could just rewind. Destroyed and bruised. So I think, like, after all these years of trying to find a relationship, finding someone to be with, I kind of feel like that. I feel destroyed and bruised just from existing and just being alone all the time. And I'm content with that, but at the same time, like, I wish I could just rewind back to the days of, like, there's a part of me that wishes, like, I could rewind to when I was a kid and, as my adult self, give myself some advice. There's things I wish I could just do better, do differently, but again, that's never going to happen. I can never go back to those times and change how I acted or how I was. And then moving on to the next two lines here: all the pain I felt going through hell. Because I think the problem with trying to find relationships at an early age was doing it every year, I think, was going through hell. And there was so much pain being felt when I would just get rejected or I would get let down. That's, for me, I think that was the hardest part of attempting this at a young age, is trying to find someone to be with, having crushes on all these girls. It's like, nothing ever came of it, And that's what's hard about writing this song, was, like, as an adult, like, I don't care anymore about that, But, like, thinking back, it was like, why did I just, push myself through all that? It's wild to me. But moving on to the next two lines here: not knowing who I am. I feel like if I'm just so focused on, trying to have a relationship at a young age, I'm more focused on that and not figuring out who I am as a person. Because I think that's what high school was for me. And even, like, working a job, like, it's taken years to build to the person I am now, which is just a laid-back, chill dude that doesn't give a damn about all this relationship stuff. Or I try not to. If it happens, it happens. I'm not going to force anything. If someone wants to ask me out, that's okay, Like, I will let it happen. I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to push anything. My focus, like, since all that, has just been working on myself, and I think that's the most important thing, But moving on to the pre-chorus here, which isn't a whole lot. It's the pre-chorus to the chorus, which is I am the, and then jumping into the chorus: I am the lost in the wicked, the broken and the brave. So I'm the lost and the wicked. I'm kind of a shell of a man. I'm this person who going back to those younger years, like, I didn't know what I wanted out of life. I didn't know. I just focused on these every year, focused on a relationship or focused on someone to be in a relationship with, and it led me nowhere. So I'm the lost and the wicked, the broken and the brave. Broken being broken, like never finding someone, but also the brave, being brave enough to even go up to someone and ask them out. But like, even when I was younger back then, I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant until high school. Or not high school, middle school. Like, knowing what going on a date meant in middle school, like, kind of changed things. Because I was like, oh, okay. But like, being brave enough to ask someone out, I think is so brave. And now I don't care about doing that. If someone's into me, they can come up to me and ask. Like, I'm not gonna push anything, but lost and the wicked, the broken and the brave. If there's anyone out there, is it me you can save? That line right there is it me you can save? I'm like, if there's anyone out there, is it me you can save? This song Pulse refers to, like, if there is a person out there that was into me or is into me or might be into me, is it me you can save? Can you save me from myself? If there was someone out there when I was younger, why didn't you just come up to me? That's that's what I refer those two lines to, is like, if you're out there, like, just come up to me already. Just save me from myself, because I'm trying to find the one. I think that's what this song was mainly about, is like trying to find that person in the past, but also like, I'm content where I am right now, and if someone is out there, they're more than welcome to come up to me, But moving on to the next two lines here, I'm scared as hell to be here, and even more terrified to go back. Scared as hell to be here. So currently, right now, in the place I'm in, even though I'm content where I'm at, I am scared as hell to be here, because, like, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if there is someone out there for me, or if I'm just going to be alone for the rest of my life, and that's probably what's going to happen. But, and then the second line here, even more terrified to go back, because if I go back, let's say I go back to, like, the person that I used to be, like a younger kid, that's even more terrifying, because that's like at that time I was trying to find someone, but now I'm not constantly doing that. So it's more terrifying to go back into your childhood than it is to go into the future, Because either way, you don't know if you're going to find someone, and that's really what it comes down to, is finding the right person. Whether or not you do it in the future or past, it's scary. It is scary, because you don't know who's out there. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's it. That is truly it. And then the next two lines here. But if you're the reason, well, we'll just read the 4 lines here. But if you're the reason my heart keeps beating, I'll wait for the results to feel a pulse. But if you're the reason my heart keeps beating, I'll wait for the results to feel a pulse. If there is someone out there, let's say there was, but if you're the reason my heart keeps beating, I will wait for the results to feel a pulse. Like, if this person is out there and is looking for me, is looking for someone to be with, and I'm that person, I'll wait. I'll wait to feel the pulse that no other person has made me feel. And that's just the honest truth here. So, yeah, like, this whole chorus, I think, is about searching, but also, like, not searching for the right person, It's like, it's kind of a mix of I'm searching, but I'm not searching. Like, if you're there, you can come find me. I'm not going to go look for you, but you can come find me, because I'm tired of being rejected, tired of being let down. If you're out there, come save me, But moving on to verse 2 here, scattered and lonely, the only define me. Those first 2 lines, scattered and lonely, the only defined me. That's how I feel most of the times now. Even though I'm content with things, scattered and lonely. And that's, I think that's how I felt as a kid too, like, scattered and lonely. Like, the pieces of me are just scattered around because I'm not really focused on myself. But at the same time, I'm lonely, so it's kind of like a double-edged knife. Like, I'm scattered all over the place, but I'm lonely. I'm trying to focus on people I could possibly be with, but at the same time, I'm alone, and it's the only defined me. It's kind of, it is a double-edged thing there, right? And then ignored and empty, sat up here in this tree. Ignored and empty. Because I try to go up to these people that maybe I could have a relationship with, but I get ignored. And I feel empty inside. Sat up here in this tree, so kind of like in a high place. Doesn't really refer to anything except like just being in a high place alone by myself. And yeah, just like, that's how I felt as a kid. I just felt ignored and empty. And, I don't feel that now, I don't think, but that was a feeling I definitely felt. And then these next 3 lines here, maybe I could find peace or pick up the pieces I left behind. So going back to that scattered and lonely line, maybe I could find peace. Maybe I could find peace and tranquility outside of just trying to find a relationship, or pick up the pieces I left behind. So going back to my childhood and just picking up the pieces I left behind, picking up the pieces of myself and putting them back together, This verse for me is like, just like all about discovery, and realizing like this is what defines me. These words are what define me, but I'm trying to just bring myself back to who I am, like character building and all that sort of stuff. But moving on, again, pre-chorus is pretty much the same, except it switches to "and I'm the," and then chorus kind of cuts off here. But if you're the reason, and then going into the bridge here, why am I still breathing? Was the pain not enough? Why am I still breathing? Because I ask myself that a lot. It's like, why am I still here? All alone, don't have anyone. It's like, why am I still breathing? Was the pain not enough? Was the pain of being rejected multiple times not enough? Like, why am I still breathing? Because there are days where I struggle with being alone, and there are days where I just like throw on some chill music and just like think, I think, why am I still like, at this point, I ask myself that because like at this point I should have found someone, but I haven't, even though I'm content with where I'm at. Like, I think about like, where's that special someone in my life that will give me that pulse? I don't know where they are. But then the next couple lines here, I'm not healing, I get weaker by the minute. I'm not healing. Because again, like, it cuts deep. The relationships I tried to have and nothing ever came of them. Like, I'm not healing, I get weaker by the minute. Because again, there's relationships I tried to have in like high school and at, working a job, but nothing ever came of those. I get weaker by the minute, and yet I'm not healing. I get weaker by the minute. The minute that I'm alone, every minute I'm alone, I get weaker and just not healing. I think that was also a thing when I was younger. Like, every time I got rejected, it was just like depression instantly kicks in, even though I didn't know what that word meant until high school, or maybe not until high school, like after high school, And then the next few lines here, and yet I'm committed to finding you, the key I seek, you hold true. I'm still committed, even though I'm content with where I'm at. I'm still committed to finding this relationship, this person out there, because if they do exist, I hope they come up to me, and I hope that I don't have to ask, because I don't want to be let down. I hope they ask, and I'll be honest with how I feel, and I will tell them yeah or no, that's kind of what it is. But I think still, like, even though like I'm not so focused on finding a relationship every year, I'm committed to finding someone, even if that person doesn't exist or they never find me, But again, it's kind of like the key I seek you hold true. If that person is out there, they'll find me. And I think that's kind of what the moral of the song is like, that person might be out there, and who knows, if they find me, they'll find me. But if not, it is what it is. But the chorus is a little bit of the same. Pre-chorus switches to "Am I the?" And then the chorus changes a little bit with, "But since you're the reason my heart is finally beating, won't have to wait for results, I finally feel a pulse." So the chorus kind of flips here. like imagining, I think I'd go back to this course if I did find someone and be like, but since you're the reason my heart is finally beating, won't have to wait for results, I finally feel a pulse. So the course flips on its head where like I did finally find someone and I do finally like my, but since this person's the reason my heart is finally beating, won't have to wait for results, I finally feel a pulse. I think it's kind of a sweet thing to be like, yes, this person does exist. It's crazy, they do. It is wild that they exist, but they do. I think that'd be a really cool thing, like if I did find someone, I show them this song and be like, there was a time where like I couldn't find anyone to be with, but now you're here. You know, I think that's a really sweet way to end the song. Because imagine if that did happen, you know, it would be really cool. But that is how the song ends. It's one of my favorites. I do like all the songs that I write, even though like production may not be the best. I think like the lyrics are my favorite thing out of all the songs I've written. So, but yeah. So if you want to listen,